Alrighty, the recording has started. All right, so hey, whoever's watching, I'm Cam. I'm currently a junior at the Academy, a rising senior. I'm a middle, class of 21. And today we have some alumni. They're going to answer some questions about life in the real Air Force. So if you guys could just go around and introduce yourselves, preferably name your class year and then where you're currently stationed, if you can say that. I'll volunteer Sarah first.
Okay, Sarah's going first.
All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Sarah Hellman. I'm stationed at Lackland Air Force Base right now, and I actually just graduated in the class of 2019.
My name is Savannah. I'm currently stationed at, I'm normally stationed at Moody Air Force Base in Georgia. I'm currently deployed right now. I was class of 2017.
And I am Hillary Keltner. I graduated in the class of 2015, and I am currently stationed at Los Angeles Air Force Base.
Cool. So we're just going to ask some questions so you guys can get some more information. I personally only played with Sarah, so I could probably spill a bunch of secrets on her, but we're going to get to know everyone today. So first, let's just start with what was your major at the Academy, and if you guys can just go in the same order if you want to.
So I majored in behavioral sciences and minored in religion studies. And Cam, no secrets.
I was an operations research major.
And I was a management major.
So I feel like one of the questions, at least I get asked a lot, is how do majors play into your job in the Air Force? Like, are they directly related? Are there some majors where you can go into any career field? So I feel like, Sarah, you can kind of answer that one.
Yeah, so from what I understand, there are actually not a lot of jobs that correlate with your major. One of the few, though, is information operations, which is the job that I have. And in the other services, it doesn't really matter actually what major you were or if you have a psychology background. But in the Air Force, it is it's an educational requirement to be information operations.
Nice. And so
I'll just speak to that a little bit if you want, Cam.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, awesome. So I was a management major, which basically would be business at any other institution. And a lot of athletes end up choosing that one because it has the most relevance outside of the Air Force. But a lot of pilots go that way too because it just seems to be a lot more enjoyable. But for the most part, you can have any major at the Academy and then do any job once you commission. Like Sarah said, there's a couple where you maybe need some prerequisites, you need some educational certifications, but for the most part, you can do any major and get any job.
Yeah, I think like CE, like civil engineering, if you want to go that route, like any of the engineering, I think really is the only one I've seen like consistently, like you have to be on that track, I guess, or at least the more like
medical track. Medical is one of those ones that, I mean, it applies everywhere pretty much.
Yeah. And from at least my knowledge, there's currently like a couple girls on the volleyball team that are trying to pursue medical school. So with that major, like there are prerequisites that you have to take for those. But if like you want to go pilot, like I'm personally poli-sci, political science, so you can pretty much be any major and go pilot if you want to. You don't necessarily have to do aero to be a pilot. So that's like a common misconception. You don't have to do all the techie stuff. You can avoid that if you want. Let's see. What is the next question? Is Hillary, are you currently still in the Air Force?
I am. So I'm coming up on my 5-year commitment next month, but I actually have an interesting choice coming up with the Space Force being stood up. So I have all of May to choose if I want to opt into that. And then that's like a whole other process. But that's something that future cadets are going to have to think about too, whether they're going to commission to the Air Force or the Space Force.
And just anyone else, like you guys already know how much time you want to spend in the Air Force? Are you more of like leaning towards a 5 and dive or still kind of up in the air?
I'm definitely up in the air. I think I've enjoyed this job a lot more than anything I expected previously. And so I've kind of set up for myself as long as I'm happy and like enjoying my job, I have no reason to leave, I guess. I'm coming up on changing assignments. So I'm on the list this year to get a new job. And so I'm excited about that. And I've kind of seen myself probably taking at least another two assignments. But I don't know. I think when I first joined, I was like, oh, I'm going to five and that. Like, I'm going to decide this way early on. But I think I've really found a lot of benefits to being in the military, and I've liked it a lot more than I think I initially thought I would. So I'll probably stay at least one assignment past and probably continue on as long as I'm enjoying it. So, and I am so far.
Nice.
Yeah, for me, I think a lot of people like kind of get nervous, you know, thinking about going to the Air Force Academy, like, oh my gosh, I have to serve afterwards. I don't know if I want to commit to that, you know. And I think like once you actually graduate and you make it through and you start your commitment, I think you realize like very quickly, and I know Hillary and Savannah can kind of talk to this way more than I can. But I mean, I'm already coming up on a year of being graduated, and like that's nuts to me. Like it flew by. And so I know that the 5-year commitment is probably going to fly by too. And so it doesn't seem so daunting or like I committed to so much right now as it did when I first went to the Air Force Academy. So just like kind of if you're looking at going to the Air Force Academy, don't let that be a factor that stops you, because it actually kind of goes very fast. And you can choose, you know, yeah, I want to be done with the after 5 years, or no, I want to continue on, kind of like Hillary and Savannah are facing right now.
Nice. So the next question I have is just, even me personally, like I don't really know what life outside of the academy looks like, and I can't even fathom it. So what is like a typical day look like for you guys currently? I know it's gonna be different per job, so just kind of give me like a rundown. Anyone can go first.
When I'm normally home station, in the job I'm in now, I kind of run my own shop schedule. So we are a little more flexible on our hours because I'm in a flying squadron. And so if the jets are flying, we have to be there. And if they're not, then if they're flying nights, then we'll shift to nights. But I'm pretty much in charge of like when I show up. And I manage the schedule for the rest of the shop, and so it's kind of nice there. Like, so I'll show up at like usually around 7:30 if it's a normal day. We'll take lunch, and I'll go home, and I have a routine of like go home, go to the gym, like relax. I do school, and then just kind of chill out, and like you get really close with the people you work with, or at least I have. In the job that I wasn't in the flying squadron, like got close with the other officers around. There aren't as many as you're used to it. So I think that was the biggest thing that I missed when we left, was like, oh, where'd all my friends go? But you learn to make those really fast. And I think, I don't know, like you kind of get in this rhythm, and I like schedule. I like kind of doing the same thing over and over again. And so I don't know, that's kind of basically it. But for the most part, schedule day to day, like at work, like it's very much, at least where I'm at, like you do the job and you do it well. And I can kind of flex however I need to get that going.
Thanks. Hillary?
So I just recently made a job switch. So I was working space operations for 4 years, and now I'm in my core AFSC, which is acquisitions. So it's program management. And that's been a complete like 180 from what I was doing in space operations, which was operating satellites, sitting on an ops floor, like working shift work. You have to do like a year of training before that. So now, which I know a lot of lieutenants are here, in newly commissioned lieutenants in Los Angeles, and it's a completely different world. So it's your normal like 7:30 to 4:30, but it is Los Angeles, so it's a little bit more lax on when you come to work and when you leave. and it's a lot of you're working in a team, but you're in charge of the team, and it's civilians and contractors. So it's maybe one or two military people, but then it's all people that, so like I said, civilians and contractors. So that was a big change for me, but it's a lot of meetings and a lot of like tracking milestones, schedule, cost of your program. So it's useful what you do learn at school. And I realized that. I was like, why didn't I pay attention in my project management class when I was a senior? That would have been really helpful right now. But it's not the same every day. And every day you come in, you have to problem solve, and you have to deal with personnel issues and just personalities. And so that's been probably the most interesting part for me, because I like working with people.
Thank you. Sarah?
I think my role right now is a lot different than what Hillary and Savannah's is at their shop, because I'm still like kind of bottom of the totem pole. I do work with a lot of contractors and civilians, like Hillary said, so they're all subject matter experts. And my role is to kind of sit in the back, be a little bit more of a beta right now and just learn. So yeah, there are a lot of meetings and stuff, but I would say I lean more towards just like staying in the background and picking up as much as I can instead of taking charge of things. And I know that's coming, but as of right now, I'm just trying to learn a lot. So.
Yeah. I think that's like a good thing to know, because I feel like a lot of people, or at least rising seniors, are kind of scared of the whole, oh, I'm going to graduate and like automatically be in charge, and there's not going to be like a learning curve or a learning process. But here's proof that hopefully that doesn't happen to everyone. So, I mean, unless if you're like maintenance, really, that's like the only person I've heard from that's like you're actually in charge. So, that's just some information about the real Air Force. And so now this question is more tailored towards like your cadet life. So what's like the biggest piece of advice that you could give someone who's either looking at the academy or is, committed to going through the academy? It's a tough question, I know.
So I kind of wish that I could go back and tell myself during the really hard times, like basic and freshman year and everything, to just like notice a little bit more of the fun things, because I think it took me a couple of years to actually drink the Kool-Aid a little bit and like really get involved and get into it. And I feel like I kind of miss out on talking about a lot of like really fun things that other people remember that like I don't remember. So I think like if you could just pay attention, you know what I'm saying? Just like have fun with it. I wish that I had done that a little bit more.
So that's a little different, I think, for advice I would give someone considering the academy versus somebody that's already there. So someone that's considering the academy, I would say it's not going to be what you expect. Normal people do go there. Like I remember seeing a girl on the team when I was being recruited, and I was like, oh my God, she's so pretty and she's so normal. Like I could do that too. Because I just thought, I mean, for real, I thought all of them, everyone in the military was like, I don't know, like a certain stereotype of a woman.
No, that's literally, I was on my recruiting trip, and I had this idea, preconceived notion in my head of what I was going to see when I got there on my trip. And I show up and it was a girl that was on the team, and I was like, I can do this.
Like, Who was it, Sav?
I'm not feeling I'm here. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I guess I kind of like dodged the question a little bit. So thank you, Marie, for kind of pulling me back on that. But I also went to the prep school, and so I had like a slightly different view of maybe what freshman year would look like just from at the prep school, but it was still different than what I thought. So just like keep a super open mind, but understand that like you are so capable of doing it, because like if I can do it, then you can do it.
Yeah, and then daunting thing too is like freshman year. Like everyone's like really nervous about freshman year because they read stuff online and they hear stuff and all that and whatever. And it's not like, I don't know. I feel like after that point, like there's some stuff like you got to do and learn and all that kind of stuff. But after that point, like you go to school in a uniform and like you're learning how to be a leader, honestly, and like you gain a lot of good life skills. And so don't let the fear of what you think is going to happen or what you think is going on freshman year kind of like steer you away. That's a very small part of the entire experience. And I don't think you've set yourself short just because of like a couple months of being uncomfortable, I would say. So that was a really big kind of like stress point for me before I kind of made the leap. And then, you know, you get through it and you're like, oh my God, I did that. And now I'm going to move on and I'm stronger. And what's next, you know?
Yeah.
I would also reiterate what Sarah said, because I was like her, and I feel like the best advice is just to like look up and enjoy the moment that you're in, because you're always like looking ahead to the next milestone, to like the next just the next thing, you know, if it's ring dance, if it's graduation, and you're always trying to get through and you're in the grind every single day. But if you just like look up and really enjoy the experience that you're having, really appreciate what you go through and what you accomplish there, and then the amazing people that you have around you, that's the best part.
Those are some really good answers. I wish someone would have told me that before I came here, because I definitely like put my head down, and then I think I finally like snapped into it once this whole pandemic thing hit and I wasn't around everyone, and I was like, wow, this is what life's gonna be like when I graduate, just like not living with all of your best friends and not having a team to play on. So if you're considering it, I honestly say just go for it. Like, especially the volleyball team, it's a bunch of big personalities. Like, I would say the team is usually pretty normal, and we're crazy, but definitely normal, and anyone can do it. So don't let basics scare you from having a really cool experience. So I think that's all the questions. Thank you guys so much for answering. So yeah, Kate, here's my thumbs up.